right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of really the crappy weekend that we're coming off of, right? Because of all the unexpected hurricane crap that we had. And
I was a non-believer that this thing was going to do anything until Sunday night when I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
This is actually happening.
You guys had it worse down there.
Yeah.
Like by a long shot.
Oh, yeah.
And we were just on the edge of like getting like some hairy weather. But Miami really, I think Miami got it worse than the Keys, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Because the eye was so big that once it hit the Keys, it was like,
oh, nice weather.
yeah, it's a beautiful night out. I'm like texting my buddies down there, like, yeah, I see the stars. We're in the eye. This is great. But it was a huge eye.
Yeah, it was.
I don't think I've ever seen an eye that big.
I mean, and with it being a tropical storm, it didn't really bring, much.
Yeah.
So. But
did it ever make it to a 1?
No. Well, around here it didn't. That when it hit down in Central America, it was like a 5 or 4.
Yeah, down there it was brutal.
But up here, it made it to 65 knots, I think, or 70 knots, and then that was it.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So.
And where is it? Is it kind of, where is it? John, have you seen it this morning?
It's in the Gulf. It's kind of heading southwest, and they're saying it's going to hook back up and go into the Panhandle again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they're getting another storm up there.
I'm hoping the cool weather really keeps it cool.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't do any more damage. This has got to be the end of it, right? And we're at the end of hurricane season. It's the end of November.
There's one more.
Yeah.
There's one more brewing down in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
It's going straight towards Cayman.
Yeah, but isn't the water too cold right now?
No, not down there.
It's still warm?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, yeah.
2020.
2020, bringing it.
Worth its money. That's for sure. So, all right, cool. Well, listen, we are here today on the Connected by Water podcast, presented by Joey Cardi Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with my good friend Captain Ben Sharpe. And it is our Veterans Day episode. And every Veterans Day so far, well, this is only our second Veterans Day episode. Right? This is only the second year of the podcast, but we're making it a tradition to bring on someone who has given their service for the United States military in some form or fashion. And you, my friend, served in the United States Navy.
Hoorah.
So thank you for your service and welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if there's two causes that we have on the show, like we don't really like get too deep into politics around here because I want this to be like a safety zone and just like not talk about any of that crap. But the causes that we do is clean water, right, and preserving Florida's natural resources and veterans. Right. Those are basically the two things that we generally try to spotlight, and anyone really doing good in the community, just in general.
Right.
So thanks for coming on. How long ago did you serve in the Navy?
I served from 2000 to 2006, straight out of high school.
2000 to 2006.
Yes.
And then did that bring you all over the world, or like? Tell me some stuff about that. So
I originally did the whole Great Lakes in Illinois for boot camp. Went straight down to Biloxi, Mississippi I was believe it or not, a weather observer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
so you're the right guy to bring on to talk about the hurricanes.
Perfect. Yeah. So I was a weather observer. I got all my schooling down in Biloxi at Keesler Air Force Base, and then I got stationed on the USS Abraham Lincoln for about 4.5 years. Which that was pretty epic. I was actually on the ship when.
What kind of ship is that?
It's an aircraft carrier.
Is it really?
It's the same one that Bush came on. He was like, "War's over."
Oh, that one?
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, it's over." And then no.
Were you on? You were on the ship at that time?
On the ship
with Bush when the whole mission accomplished thing?
Yeah, kind of a funny, sad funny thing is that I was supposed to have. They selected a group of sailors because I guess I was a pretty decent sailor when I was in. So they selected the group of us, that was gonna have a dinner with the president. And I pulled like a night shift or something like that, or a day shift, I forgot. And I ended up falling asleep, and nobody woke me up.
Come on.
I swear. And then I woke up, and I was pissed. I'm like, yo, like, why didn't anybody wake me up? And they're like, it's not my responsibility. I'm like, oh, you guys are a bunch of assholes.
Not my responsibility?
Can I say asshole in this?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Okay, cool. Yeah, they said I was like, oh, all right, well, I'm going to only remember that for the rest of my life,
Oh, my goodness.
So... But yeah, that was cool. I that little part of my life. So after that, I ended up going to Diego Garcia for a year, which that has to be one of the coolest places I've ever been.
Diego Garcia?
Yeah, Diego Garcia, which is a tiny island in the middle of the Indian Ocean. It's about I don't know, 1,500 miles south of Mali. It's a buyout, which was the British Indian Ocean Territory. So the Brits owned it. Before that, the people that live in I'm trying to remember that little that country down south over there. Anyway, there was
Madagascar.
Not Madagascar. There's another one.
Seychelles?
Yeah. So there was an indigenous people which they got kicked out. They sent them over to the Seychelles. All right.
Okay.
And then the Brits were like, okay, this is our military base now. And it is so isolated that
British Empire.
Yeah, I know. Just taking them over one at a time.
God.
So there was a time during World War II when they kind of freshly established it that the people on the base didn't know that they were at war. And, this was like the year I don't say late 30s or something. All right, and then an actual German U-boat pulled in there. They resupplied them and sent them on their way. But just because the enemy, and they had no idea there was a war going on. So
wow.
At least that's how it was described to me, But after that, I ended up going.
They still had dial-up back then? They didn't have good communications?
I don't know.
Telegraph.
Somebody sent a text.
So no one texted them.
Yeah. So, but then after that, I got a chance to go back to Jacksonville. That's where I out-processed. And that was the end of my military journey.
Nice. How was that? How long did you live down there in the Indian Ocean?
Just a year.
A year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got there 4 days after the tsunami.
Really?
Yeah, talk about being fortunate. So I think the tsunami was on Christmas, if I remember right, in 2004
it was during the Christmas
or
holiday,
2005. Yeah, I got there 4 days after that.
4 days after. So you overslept the president and you missed the most massive death and destruction moment in the history of all mankind by 4 days.
Yeah.
And maybe that balances out.
Yeah, I'll take it.
It could have been 4 days earlier. Would have been a lot worse.
Amen.
Wow. Cool, man. So I want to spotlight one thing real quick before we get into, because we want to talk about the Dust 'em Off real quick, because it's really a great tournament that you really brainchilded and invented, and it's really, really good stuff. But one thing I wanted to promise that I would give a promotion out to our good friends Paul Robertson and Tiffany Tolleson at the Fishing for Muscular Dystrophy. They have a raffle going on. They have it every year. Fishing for MD is an incredible, incredible organization. And I got my notes here just to make sure that I got everything correct here. If you go to fishingformd.com/2020 FFMD raffle, there's 49 days left currently. Actually, by the time this aired, there's going to be about 45 days left to enter this raffle. They're giving away a tremor. A 2021 or a 2020 Ford F250 Tremor, 2021 Everglades 24-3 Bay Boat, and the Beach Buggies Custom Easy Go RV Cart. All you got to do is enter and buy a raffle ticket, but don't do it for the cart. Don't do it for the truck. Don't do it for the boat. Do it to help them out. It's an incredible cause. They are doing great things for muscular dystrophy, and all the money goes to the kids, just so you know. It does not go to Fishing for MD. It does not profit at all. Whatever money they come out with on top of their books goes right to that organization. So please support them. Another organization I want to bring up is the Mahogany Youth. Is it Foundation?
Mahogany Youth LLC, actually. Right.
Mahogany Youth LLC. And this is who we're spotlighting for the Dust 'em Off tournament.
Correct.
Right.
But before we even go there, I just want to go back to fishing for.
Please do.
Man, you make a lot of friendships through the docks and stuff, but I'm not sure I've ever met people as nice as
They're the best.
Them. Yeah, I mean, every time you meet them, it's like, oh man, nice to see you. It makes you feel awesome. So whatever you guys can do, please, go check that out. Support the cause. Yep,
absolutely. Yeah, no, that's the thing. I mean, I say this to his face, and he just kind of pushes me away. He's infectious.
Yes.
Paul Robertson is just one of the most infectious people, in a positive way, that I've ever met my entire life. John can vouch for the same thing.
Yep.
He's been on the show twice, I think.
Yeah. And then if you include the live one at Jimmy Johnson, that's 3.
Yes, that's a good point. See, that's why he gets. Right. Yeah, that's why he runs the show and not me. I just talking to the mic. So, yeah, absolutely. No, amazing people support the cause, please. And also, Mahogany Youth Foundation.
Yes.
Right. This is who we're spotlighting in the Dust 'em Off tournament, which we will get into the Dust 'em Off tournament. But I want to lead off with the Mahogany Youth Foundation, because a lot of times when we bring up the foundations and stuff, that's almost like an afterthought. I want to lead off with it, and I want it to be a focus. So
awesome.
Tell me about this organization.
So their goal is basically to help underprivileged youth, not only through like making it a club atmosphere, also through curriculum, because they do have a little bit of a footprint in Miami-Dade schools, but just show them other options other than the status quo. Be like, hey, the outdoors is also an outlet for whatever energy you might have. You know what I mean? So we can spin it in a positive direction. Yeah, as a kid, I got introduced to them randomly. Actually, I think it was either at the Florida Sportsman when they used to have the Florida Sportsman shows at the different places. It was either there or the Dade County Youth Fair. I don't remember, but just walking by, they had the shirts on, they had a brochure, they handed it to my mom, and my mom rocks. All right, she's a single parent. She made sure that I was able to do a lot of things that, that was probably, a little bit past her, but she'd be like, oh, okay, baby. And she'll take me and I just go, running around fishing and stuff. So she
take you fishing when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah.
That's
she took
awesome.
me fishing. She'd take me to the pier. She'd bring a book or I don't know what she'd be doing, but I'd be there like, just running around trying to catch fish. So, but I think, that a part of her realized that, the stuff that I was doing, the stuff I was getting into, I needed people around me that had a little bit more education in it. That can quench that thirst for a little bit more higher learning when it came to fishing. And these guys came in and they definitely made an imprint in my life. I got a chance to do a couple trips with them. I did a trip to the Tortugas with them on the Florida Fish Finder about, I guess this had to be 25 years ago. Golly.
Really?
Wow, that just hit me. But yeah, 25 years ago.
It's crazy when those numbers pop up like that, right?
Yeah, man. So and man, they have so many kids that they've impacted. That I'm pretty sure at some point, if they don't realize it now, they'll realize it at some point. Like, oh man, that was awesome. So, I thought it was a great way because I know they're kind of limited when it comes to exposure in the community, just because. They're not necessarily in the scene that I'm trying to not say it bad, but the
you
scene
can
that
say
I'm
whatever
in,
you want here.
they're not in the tournament scene. They're not in the kind of higher profile fishing scenes that like people that blue marlin fish or sailfish or do this stuff. And I'm like, hey, you know what? Use me. You know what I mean? I have a pretty good, group of friends. I know a few people that know a few things, and let's see what we can do. And the littlest thing I could have did was try and benefit them in this tournament. That I put together. And so far, I don't know a hard number. I probably should have did that research before I came in, but I think we're somewhere around $9,000. It ain't a ton of money,
right?
But it helps. Every bit helps every time. So. Nice. Yeah, I just try to make sure that everybody else, I stay transparent and I let everybody know, hey, this is what's going where. And mahogany to me is the most important of those.
Nice. So you were involved. I didn't realize that you were involved with the organization.
Yeah. As a kid, I was, I had to be 13, probably 12, 13 around there. And then the only reason that I wasn't involved in it, like as much as I would have liked to, is because of distance.
Right.
I grew up in that Sweetwater area. I went to Cole Park Senior High School, and they were kind of more in like that Liberty City area of Miami-Dade. And my mom, she worked 2-3 jobs, and it was like, all right, I get it,
Yeah, I mean,
stay home when we can make it, we make it.
I think organizations like that are really, really important. And not just this one, but all organizations that take kids under their wing and. We experience, a lot of people experience that, I think, throughout the COVID. We homeschool, right? We have for like 3 years. So the COVID thing for us at home wasn't like a big deal. I mean, it mattered, you know what I mean? We felt the impact of it, but not like a lot of these other parents did, where they had to, they were forced to become teachers and they had to try to get back to work and make ends meet. I think that was really the toughest part of the whole thing, was we realized that, idle hands, the devil's playground, whatever they say, the kids need to occupy their time in a positive way, right? Or else they're going to go off and do bad things.
Right.
That's just the nature of it. But, in a lot of ways, school serves to be a daycare. It's not all about education all the time. You know what I mean? It's just, honestly, like if we're being honest, it's a place to keep your kids during the day so you can go to work.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So like for someone like your mother who's got to work around the clock, having a place like this for you to go to and explore your world in a positive way, it's priceless.
Yes.
So if anybody has the wherewithal to be able to support this organization, please do so.
100%.
Right?
100%. So, I mean, if there's one other thing I want to say, I feel it's unfair that I don't pay homage to a lot of the other people in my life that have made, footprints, you know what I mean? Because, God, there's been a lot of people, and I'm not going to even try and name them all because I want to piss somebody off because I forget them.
Yeah, that's always tough.
Yeah, but I mean, mahogany is huge, but there's definitely been a lot of people in my life that I just have to be like, look, thank you guys. I really appreciate it, So.
Yeah. You don't want to name them?
I'm not going to do it, man. I just turned
There's going to be like that one
man.
dude that's going to be like, man, you didn't mention my name.
Yeah, man.
This ain't cool. So, yeah, right on, man. So, dust them off.
Yes.
All right, so this is a tournament that I think you saw a unique opportunity to say, hey, sales are biting a little bit earlier than the first tournament generally starts. And, let's have a tournament to where everyone can kind of like freshen up their skills and, dust them off. Right. So take me through a little bit of your head in starting this.
So like all good tournaments, this one started in the bar. All right.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, we were sitting down. I remember it. We were over at Monty's in the Grove, man, and the guy's like, "Yeah, there should be a tournament." Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, and then
There was like, Ben, do it.
Well, no, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, we'll help." You know what I mean? And then crickets,
Right.
So, but it was definitely bar talk. Let's have a low cost, affordable. Let's go back to what tournaments used to be. Something for everybody. Which is something that we aim for. And in I think it was 2014, which was the first year, we had Sports Grill as our sponsor. That's where we had our captain's party and our and the awards. And we had 18 boats the first year, which I think for a first year, I was like,
it's good.
Shit,
That's good for you, yeah.
This is a win. So, we did it that year, and I remember the Free Spool actually won it that first year. So, that's where it got its legs, all right, as just a small tournament, minimum Calcuttas, guys, let's just have a good time and celebrate what the outdoors is, which is just for the experience as opposed for the cash that you can make. Over the years, it evolved. I wouldn't say a whole lot because I still think, it's relatively affordable tournament. But it evolved to add a couple more Calcuttas just because you have those guys that won't get off the couch unless there's a reason. So you have the option,
especially with putting up a sailfish spread for a tournament. A lot of guys aren't going to come out unless there's something in it for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So but we left the option for the smaller guys with the entry. Keep it low. Just so everybody can, everybody can participate. But depending on how deep you want to go, you can go how deep you want to. So we added a couple of Calcuttas to make it look nice. And then I remember the first year that we have our current format, which I think was the highest we paid out, which was to Utopia. It was like $41K. And,
wow.
Yeah, for me, I was like, oh, wow. We actually made that much money. Not made, but, rose that much money.
Yeah. You process through. It's good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's evolved a lot. Another group that's part of it that I'm appreciative to, just being a vet, is Operation Wet Vet with Ozzy. He was one of the originals that we had in it, and actually we had a perpetual number 7. Entry 7 was always for Wet Vet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So if he wanted to fish, he could. If he didn't, the spot was still there. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. I mean, it's a great tournament. I know, with Connected by Water, we always say that it's all about the aquatic community, right? And, and this is definitely a tournament that is like that. It's all about the community coming together and, like, making a show out of it. And I know a lot of guys really look forward to this tournament every year, especially with it being the first one. It's named appropriately, dust them off. And, this year it seems to have elevated, like, even more. I know you got some help now.
Yeah, I got
with
Courtney.
Like Courtney and Shelby.
Courtney Bowden and Shelby's helping.
And we're working with them, and they do an outstanding job. We can't say enough about how great a job that they've been doing with the tournament this year. So we're really impressed with everything that they've been doing. Yep. So kudos to them.
Yeah, they deserve it, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
So, for me, the reason I had to kind of step back a hair from it is because of new employment. And I just, there's a moment there I didn't think it was gonna go on until Courtney stepped up and was like, "Hey Ben, you know what I mean?" More than anything, she wanted to go on just because she knew that we had, it was more of a fundraiser for Mahogany Youth during it. So she was like, I can't let that fall to the wayside.
Right.
So that's why she pushed it. So
Yeah.
there are things we're doing to make sure that Mahogany definitely, benefits from the tournament still.
Very cool. Very cool. So the tournament got delayed
Yes.
because of Ada.
Yeah.
The tournament ate it up.
Ate it up, man.
So now we pushed that back to what, December
2nd through the 5th. So a couple things. Well, actually, one added thing is that we have our friends over at Bob Hughes Boats. They're going to sponsor our captain's meeting for South. So we're going to have a captain's meeting at Bob Hughes Boats on the 2nd. And on the 3rd, we'll have a captain's meeting over at Viking Service Center, which is long-term from square one, has been there.
Right.
One of our great sponsors. So... and
it's not too late to enter at this point. Then,
it is
right?
not too late. The more the merrier.
Now that
Come
we're
on.
delayed, we can get more people in the tournament. And
And then also I know there is a couple scheduling conflicts, but we're flexible. Our lines ends at 8, lines outs at 4. So if you're fishing another tournament that coincides, as long as the lines end is at 8 or after, and the lines out, is at 4, you're more than welcome to fish our tournament and any other tournament at the same time.
that's cool.
Yeah. So I don't know how other tournaments are going to feel about that. And
Right.
frankly, I don't necessarily care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But where we stand, you're allowed to. And the way we're doing it is we're doing a mobile, not mobile, but you can turn in your videos through the app, which we're using, not Catch Step. I'm sorry. Love you, buddy. But man.
What the app that?
Yeah, the app.
It's not Captain app, is it?
Man. Oh, man. My first mistake of the day.
That's fine. What's the website? Is it on the site?
Yeah, it's on the site. It's on the dustthemoffsailfish.com.
Dustinoffsailfish.com.
Yeah, and you'll see the app that we're using for it. So.
Okay, cool. So go on dustthemoffsailfish.com and enter the tournament because it's not too late.
It's definitely not too late. Yeah, and right now we're still running at actually, I'm not going to even say that because I'm not sure. I got to speak to Courtney before I say that about entry prices. But if there's any difference in anything, we'll definitely post it because our primary way of communicating is through social media. All right, so if there's any kind of update, we'll definitely post it.
Okay, what's that at what?
The Dust Them Off, just another Dust Them Off Sailfish.
Just at Dust Them Off Sailfish.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Go there, fish that tournament, win a lot of money, get a lot of high fives. You got COVID restrictions in place and everything for the captain's tournaments, or
yeah. Excuse me, but yeah, we we're limiting the actual captain's awards meeting. So the awards meeting is going to be virtual. All right, we're going to try and keep attendance kind of minimal for our captain's meeting, more so, or maybe captain owner, or maybe it's just a select few. Make sure that we have masks on. We'll make sure we have tons of hand sanitizers and stuff like that, just to make sure everybody can stay safe.
Cool. I can't wait till this stuff's over.
Me too, man. Gosh.
Oh, man, it's just so strange, John, isn't it? COVID stuff, like just having to wear the mask and
Yeah, it is. I understand why we're doing it, but
yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's strange. You want to know what else is strange? Our strange questions that we have. For
Here
Ben
they
Sharpe.
come.
I always like the segue. You were again. He's looking at me like, yeah, it's strange. What's the problem? All right. So, this is our strange questions segment.
All right.
Which we recently started about a month ago, where we have people write in strange questions to ask you, our guest on the show, something strange, and you have to answer it. And at the end, you're going to pick the strangest question, or the question that you like the best, and we'll send them a T-shirt.
All right. Perfect.
So, all right, cool. So I got one here from Will Kelleher from the Miss Michelle fishing team. And he says, is it good luck to hang out with Ben Sharpe the night before a tournament? It did so before the Big Dog Fat Cat last year and had a great finish, and we'll have to test it again this year. So do you think it's good luck to hang out with you before a tournament?
Man, I think it depends on if it's rum or vodka.
We have rum here now. You want rum? We have Polar rum.
Let's do a splash, a
Do a
squig.
splash. All right,
Like
all
my
right.
uncle would call it
So
squig.
I think with the strange question segment, it's appropriate to
Yes.
to drink rum, and we're gonna leave this one. I have this from George Palmeroma because I always have the toughest time getting these bottles open because they're so secure. So this bottle here is with his instructions on
How to open it.
how to open it.
Talking of George, what did you do
Yeah.
to him? He never says anything nice about you, man.
No, he likes to have fun with little old me. There's some rum for you.
Oh, holy. Some.
I know those are big cups and everything, but geez.
I know we got to get better cups.
Man.
Last minute on the fly, kind of. Definitely caffeinated. It says here. Go. Cheers.
Cheers,
And-
brother.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you for having me.
So let's not forget this is the Veterans Day episode. So, so good luck to hang out with you before a tournament or what?
Man, I hope it's good luck to
We
hang
got
out with
rum
myself,
involved
man. You know, I need to win one of these days.
Yeah.
So
Well, I got it on good authority that you're the best on the water. So somebody told me that recently. So all right. So Will, I think it's good luck to hang out with Ben the night before a tournament. So that's a good question. And especially if he did well. Then you kind of got to go with that, right?
yeah, man. Them guys are awesome though.
Proof's in the pudding.
They have enough mojo on their own. They don't need me.
All right. Next question is from our good buddy. That's rum in the morning for
That
you
guy,
right there,
woo,
isn't it?
he's you know,
John, you want?
I'm all right.
He's good.
Too early for me.
woo's a good guy.
Yeah, there's well, like they say with Papa's Pilar here, we're never a spectator, so we're putting our money where our mouth is here.
That's
literally.
the truth. Golly.
All right. Our good buddy Mike Lambrix from the CCA Broward chapter, Mr. President over there,
Presidente.
asks, in your travels throughout the Bahamas and U.S. waters, what is your best sailboater story? I feel like everyone has seen them do something crazy at some point. Any issues with sailboaters?
So my best story,
So,
since
got one.
I'm married, I can't talk about.
what?
But
Oh.
just put it like this. I don't know why it is. Well, when I was younger, when I say in my mid to late 20s, all the older 30, early 40-year-old sailboat chicks, I always thought it was like exotic or something. I don't know what it was, man. Yeah, it was like that. I always got.
Hey, pretty lady.
I know. I go out there with my Carrie Chen accent. So, but no, man, you know, other than the normal, you know, sailboaters cutting you off all over the place, I
Yeah.
don't have anything epic,
Yeah,
you know,
we
that
had
I
one-
can
You
tell.
ever come through your sailfish spread? We've had that happen before.
Okay, well, yeah,
Yeah.
we had those.
Yeah.
I remember I've seen one. That he,
Everyone's like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Hi."
oh yeah, last year when I was on the Daisy, we had a great one. Apparently, they had some regatta that they were going from Miami to Key West.
Mm-hmm.
They literally, there was like, I don't know, call me an idiot, but like 4 of these guys blasted through our flatline spread.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And just wiped out the whole flatline spread. I mean, I could have moved, but you know, we were on fish, and I was like, nah, I don't wanna move, you know. And
You shouldn't have to move. You're established.
I was like, we got a big sail on right now.
It would be a big sail. All right, there you go, Mike. There's your sailboater story. Another good friend of the studio, and good friend of yours as well. I think all these people are good friends of yours, to be honest with you. Greg Gawlikowski from Endless Imagery asks, "What's the strangest pre-tournament ritual you have? What's basically the strangest thing you've done or participated in the night before?"
Oh God. So so there was a point in time in my life, you know, especially when I used to fish a lot more out of Miami, that we love the guys from the Rockstar, and every night a couple of those guys would go do something that I will never do again. But we decided, hey, you know what? It helps them out, so we should do it. So we literally at 2 a.m. in the morning woke up and met these guys in the strip club. All right. And we stayed there till 4, went straight to the boat, and literally had the worst day of fishing I've ever had in my life.
You think?
Oh yeah, man. I literally was like, I remember at some point, this is when I was Ryan Alexander was on. I was like, Ryan, drive the boat. I just laid down, took a nap.
Wait a minute. Time out. So you're the night before a tournament. You wake up at 2 a.m. And you go to like Tootsie's. Scarlett's? BT's in Coconut Grove. Not Grove, in South Miami, I'm sorry. And you're getting lap dances.
Until about 3:30, 4.
And you're going to go fishing all day the next day.
Fishing.
I'm like, how old were you?
Me, I don't know. I had to be about 30.
Wow.
Yeah, this is almost 10 years ago. It might have been 30.
So this works for Rockstar, though?
It worked for them back in the day. And I was like, keep giving the shots, Mo Jaeger.
Oh, my God.
And I mean, apparently they caught fish. They won a lot of tournaments. And I was like, you know what? Let's try that one time. Never tried it again. Like, nah.
I have to say, I wasn't expecting that answer. What do you think, John? You ever done that?
No.
No? Yeah, me neither.
It was fun.
Yeah, I'd imagine you had a great tournament. Or you had a great night before the tournament. But, wow, that's awesome. All right, so next question. Thanks, Greg. Next question comes from our good friend, Captain John Van Dellen.
Oh, Lord, I'm
of the
scared of
Singularis. And he wanted me to ask you, and I actually got this question over the phone when I was talking to him 2 days ago. And he wants me to ask you, what is the proper speed in which one should eat a meal? Because he claims that you are the slowest eater in the world. And he also wants to say thank you for your great service to our country.
First off, John, I love you, brother. Second off, what happens is when you actually breathe and eat, you kind of like slow down. Unlike him, he just sees like breathing is an option. Let me just plow this down because everybody else on this table is going to try and take my meal. Yeah, nah.
I could see that argument. I could definitely see that argument.
So, you know what's funny about that is when I met my wife.
Because when he came in, when he came in, right? So this is, all right. For those of you listening audio, you can't see this, but you probably already know if anyone's listening to the show that we have a signed bottle of the Vouv right here from Captain John. Because when he came in, he brings in like 2 bottles of champagne and like a whole box of Jupiter donuts. Oh, wow. Like for everyone to eat on the show. And I'm like, man, this guy's bringing the thunder. So your argument holds water.
Right. I kind of feel bad because I didn't bring crap.
That's okay. We got plenty of crap here. So you're telling me about what with the wife?
She at first she used to be like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You eat like somebody's trying to steal your food." And so then she domesticated me. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, "All right, well, I guess I need to breathe now." Yeah. And I started breathing, and it's amazing. Now I'm like the last person.
Yeah, my wife did the same thing to me, where she's like, "You need to slow down. This is that good."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Chewing is an option.
It is an option.
I'm always the last. I always thought that was a really funny question because I'm always the last at the table too. Eating,
I enjoy it, and I'm a food mixer too. Like I love like breakfast. I'll mix my grits, my eggs, and my bacon together, and literally by the time I finish mixing it, John's done.
Right.
And he's like, "Yo, come on, let's go. We gotta eat." I'm like, "Bro, I'm still like mixing my food. Give me a second, all right?" You know?
Nice. He's John was the one who told me, by the way, none better on the water than Ben Sharpe.
Wow. All right. Well,
yeah,
I appreciate
that's respect
him.
there.
I appreciate
from
that,
John.
man.
Yeah. So, and he was adamant about that when he said that to me. He's like, "That's the truth."
Wow. Thanks, brother.
Yep. So, we got our next question here from Bernie Perez.
Oh, all right.
From our good friend Bernie from Sea Hunter Boats.
Yes.
Would you ever, he wanted this to be a Veterans Day appropriate question. So he said, would you ever set up a kite spread off of a Navy ship? And if so, what do you think your release numbers would be at the end of the day? So it's the Veterans Day appropriate.
Hey, why the hell not, right?
Right, why the hell not?
Yeah.
How do you think you do? Where would you do that off the, is there like a poop deck or whatever?
Yeah, they do. They got the aft deck, you know what I mean? Just... you know what? Hell, if it was on the aircraft carrier, I'd definitely have to do it from the top deck.
From the top?
Yeah, because you got no wind downstairs, you know?
Yeah.
So, but
That's true. That's true. You'd need the wind up top.
Unless, you know what I mean? Because I used to launch weather balloons off of it. You know, we got plenty of helium. You know, just go from there and then, boop, let it go.
Yeah.
But I think our ratio will be really crappy. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be tough to bring that into 300 feet.
Be pretty tough. I'd be like, I only 30 more feet. you know, call the flybridge, like, flybridge, back down, please.
Yeah, you had to bring the aircraft carrier just in off the reef. I don't know if that'd fly too well.
I know, right? You know, everybody on the edge would be pissed at us. So, but you know, what's cool though is when we used to stop in all the ports, we used to fish off the boat.
You did?
Yeah, they open up the smoke deck or something like that, you know, and they let us all fish, you know, and I was really tight with the ship's master chef, which is the highest enlisted cook on the boat. And he used to always let me have a freezer where I can throw stuff. So, just to kind of to delve into that rabbit hole, what I used to do is I would set up trips for every single port that the ship would go into. All right, so you know, I had us going fishing in Singapore, in Australia, Hawaii, you know, all over wherever we could. Okay, and a lot of people knew that's what I did, and the ship's cook, he was all in on those. So that's why we made that relationship. So whenever we catch fish, kill it, he's like, hey, I have a freezer just for you guys, just for us, so where we can throw all this fish in. And
Dude, that's
boom.
sweet.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was a giant walk-in freezer too. So,
Nice.
Yeah, so we all I don't eat fish, but I learned how to cook it from him. And they have these giant meals, you know what I mean, where it would be just kind of like our little clique of guys, which is rare when you can kind of like go off hours and you'll have like an enlisted and officers and stuff like that, where you have kind of a zero, like, okay, military bearing is you know, once you enter this door, we're all boys. You know what I mean? And then once you leave, you know, obviously it goes back to that. So, you know, those dinners, they make the fish for them. They get me some chicken. You know what I mean? And it was awesome. Really, really awesome.
See, man, I love hearing that, because that is what Connected by Water is all about, right? When it's that common bond of when the water, being out in the water or fishing or whatever it is, kind of everything else goes away.
Yep.
And it's just you guys together collectively. And we always talk about that till we're blue in the face about that kind of mysterious thing that happens when you fish with someone and you have that memory forever, and it's just different than any other experience, different than partying with a guy one night. And like if you see a guy like 5 years down the road and be like, yeah, man, I remember we went fishing that one time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you take that with you like forever, and there's like a primal experience around it too. So the fact that you guys were able to like take the stars and stripes off, you know, of like the bars and the stars, not the stars and stripes, but
right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the military ranks, and just be like, all right, that ends at the door, we're fishing.
Right. 100%.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
I love hearing that.
And you know, the cool part about it is like nobody ever like took advantage of it. You know what I mean? It was always, I mean, when we were there, you know, yeah, we participated in dinners, but it wasn't like, hey, Chief, can I get some more food? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Right.
It was just like we respected the bounce just because we didn't, you know, we knew, you know, it was kind of a special thing. It wasn't normal, you know? And yeah, you know what I mean? One of those people is one of my best friends to this day. He lives in Idaho. I go to Idaho. I try to go yearly. I haven't gone in the last 2 years, but it's my favorite place on earth.
Really?
And, yeah. And I go there because the family there is literally like, they are family to me too. And it all started really because of some of those experiences, you know?
Yeah, that's great, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to keep tight with those guys, man. You know, that people a lot of times take that for granted and think that that's the rest of your life. And sometimes those guys are few and far between.
They are.
You know,
Very much
and
so.
it's good that you kind of keep tight with them and keep up with that. I'm also impressed too that you did get proactive and still kept fishing throughout all your military years, and you know, did that too. So
Yeah.
So you fished off the boat, off the big boat, or is this like when you guys were like getting leave off land or whatever?
Yeah, you know, the way it worked is whenever you go into foreign ports, not like in your home port, but foreign ports, like the places I remember doing it. Oh, I already said, and then also Victoria and places like that, and literally these people, you know, you can go on shore, or you can stay on the boat.
Yeah.
And if I stayed on the boat, you know, I I go fish the MWR, which was morale, welfare, and recreation. They were rent out fishing poles. You just take what you had, use what you had. It was never anything amazing. You know what I mean? But you just go there and you fish. Sit there catching in Victoria. I remember catching salmon. Australia catching a bunch of freaking stingrays and sharks and stuff like that.
Nice.
So I remember seeing them catch cobias in Bahrain. It's cool stuff.
In Bahrain?
Yeah.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So all right, so there you go. That answers Bernie's question. Right?
Yeah.
So we got one last question
I know
for a strange question. All right. So and nothing for nothing, but he asks a question every time for the strange question segment. And if I don't ask his question, then I'll never hear the end of it. Right. So I have to ask his question. So Jumbo, it's just the jumbo. We'll call it the Jumbo question. So this week's strange question, Jumbo question is, how much have you learned from Jumbo? So you don't have to answer that. We know the answer is nothing.
I love it, brother.
So that's our strange question. So you got to pick a winner. So we got Will's, the good luck before for Ben Sharpe. We got Mike's. We got the sailboater question. Greg's pre-tournament ritual question was good. Captain John's eating question. Bernie's kite question off the Navy ship, and Jumbo's not in the running.
I'm going for Greg. That was a good one.
There you go. Greg, you got Ben Sharpe to talk about strippers, so you're the winner.
Definitely probably got my wife if she's listening.
Yeah, you also got Ben in trouble. So, all right, cool. Very cool. That's our strange question segment. Greg, you are the winner of a fancy spancy Connected by Water shirt, so we'll get that to you your way. So, cool, man. So, you get to dust them off. You're captain of the 68-foot Viking.
Yes, sir.
Right? How do you like that boat?
Yeah, love it. Yeah, I think they hit a home run with this 68, the new hull of the 68. It's just a much drier boat than boats in this size, And has the speed and the amenities. I think it's a great boat so far for us.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, obviously, you have you always have your conversation about custom boats, when it comes to production and stuff like that, and there's your obvious, advantages to custom, and then there's, your obvious advantages to production, which to me, I think is more living space wise, But I enjoy this boat, I've actually, I can say I've enjoyed almost every boat I've been on,
Right.
But this one right here, I think was definitely a leap in quality, compared to all the other boats.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we've been doing some work with HMY recently. And they're raving about the new 54 too. That just came out too. It's a really nice boat.
Yeah, so congratulations to them on that too.
Yeah,
with that best in show.
Yeah, beautiful boat.
It is.
Yeah, for sure. And they got their team HMY fishing on that too. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, and we just got done designing all their shirts for that, which we're happy with that package the way it all came out. So
very cool. I hope they get a chance to fish to dust them off December 2nd through the 5th.
Oh yeah, we're gonna plant that seed. I'll plant that seed with them too. Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about on the show was just the reason I wanted to talk to you about this on the show is because I don't get to talk to too many people about this because I can't for the life of me find another jazz fan out there that I can really talk like jazz with, right? Because,
let's do it.
I worked in the music business for years.
Okay.
Like before opening up the studio full time. We opened up the studio full time, 7-8 years ago. And but before that, I mean, I always painted fish my entire life. I never stopped. It's always been my passion. Always kind of did it outside of my job and everything like that. And then when we had the opportunity to quit the day job and open the studio, we did. But before that, I worked in the music industry. And, we worked in product distribution, CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, and all that stuff. So we would always get promos. So there was the promo bin. And every Friday, every Tuesday is new release day. So everyone would kind of, send out all the sales. People would send out all the promos to all their stores and customers and to promotion. And whatever didn't get sent out, there was a bin that got put in every department, like the little promo thing. So everyone would always go to the promo. No one would ever take the jazz, right? So, but I would eat it up. I'm like, this is great stuff, right? Because I always loved jazz music. So take me through your love for jazz. I mean, how did you get started listening to jazz? That's how I got started listening to jazz.
Okay, so I remember vividly. I was in 4th grade, okay, and it was just before man, I think it was our first CD player actually in the house. Yeah, and my mom, she had 3 CDs in there. She had a Tower of Power CD.
Tower of Power?
Yeah. She had a Bonnie Raitt CD. Let's give them something to talk about.
Uh-huh.
And she had this Quartet West, Charlie Hayden. And for some reason, I got
Charlie
this,
Hayden. Yeah, that's great.
So Charlie Hayden is my roots. Like that's where I first fell in love with jazz.
Okay.
So quick little tidbit about Charlie Hayden. His daughter is married to Jack Black. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. So, just the stupid jazz stuff I know. So yeah, Charlie Hayden's Quartet West, which they had Dean Broadbent in it on piano. They had Charlie Hayden on bass. I can't remember the name of the bassist player, but the saxophonist was Ernie Watts. And man, I fell in love with Ernie Watts. So then, out of nowhere on TV, for some reason they had this PBS special called the GRP Big Band, and I remember recording it. And then I think for a year it hit. And then one day I was just going through all the old VHSs. And then, I'm like 7. And then I'm in 7th grade. And then I came up with that and it reignited it again.
Right.
And then from then on, it was just, it's been a fire that I can't go without listening to jazz a day. You know what I mean? It's infectious.
It really is infectious. And I think that the coolest thing about jazz is if you're listening to good jazz, it's really an acquired taste.
Right.
Because at first, and I try to and I did this with my wife, and at first she didn't really kind of get it. And then after I just kind of just kept playing it for her when she was around. And then she's at one point stopped. She's like, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
With how it's an acquired, because you start hearing everything that's underneath it. And you start hearing that process that's underneath it. And that to me is what it's all about, because jazz to me, that's the first American art form that America can claim to the world.
Right. 100%.
That we constructed, that we presented to the world.
Yeah.
So
I think the easiest way, if you're somebody that you're like, oh, I just don't understand what they're talking about, I don't get it. Picture jazz as a conversation. Okay? It's a conversation from instrument to instrument. All right? Usually your bass player and your drummer are talking. I mean, when you have an amazing bass player and an amazing drummer, everything else is easy. Like, I'm just talking from playing aspect, because I played.
What do you play?
I played trombone. But
you do?
Yeah, I did. I haven't played in a while, but
we got harmonicas in here. We got cigar box guitars. We play. We have Friel Good Fridays in the studio. Yeah, we jam out. We're not good, but we play. We do it.
That's what it's all about, man. But
sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good. So, but the conversation is what it's really about. All right, these guys are able to communicate without words.
Right.
It's a conversation isn't necessarily with words, and that's the thing that I really, when I got older and appreciated jazz a lot more, just listening to the conversation is what got my got my soul going. You know what I mean? Like, listen, all right, the saxophonist or the drummer or whatever, the wind, whoever's playing winds, he just played this. Oh, did you hear what that drummer just did? He heard him. You know what I mean? And then the piano player, you hear how he's like what he's doing underneath what he's doing. And then just when the whole conversation goes, it's like a Sunday in church. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love about jazz how there's somewhat of a construct to it, but there's freedom.
Yes.
In there to elaborate.
There is.
And I really that's what I love most about it. I think is that it really, from an artistry standpoint, that's what makes it, so pure.
Well, that freedom is what separates it from classical music.
Correct.
Because in classical, it's very strict. Like, this is how it's supposed to be. All right.
Yep.
Oh my God, you play
Timing
forte.
has to be perfect.
Supposed to be piano.
Yep.
So yeah.
Absolutely. And I think also understanding the history behind jazz,
right,
is essential.
Right.
Like because if that's really when you get like the marrow from the bone is when you really understand the history behind it. Because I've done a lot of studying on, especially the dynamic between John Coltrane and Miles Davis. And which is heavy.
Heavyweights right there.
Yeah. And understanding, historically speaking, the best thing that Miles Davis ever did for John Coltrane was fire him.
Yes.
As his wake-up call. And thank God he responded to that the right way. But, you're talking about two guys that transformed the landscape. Basically took everything that Charlie Parker did and just evolved it.
Yeah.
As just, when John Coltrane created the Left Supreme, I think we really peaked.
Yeah.
Like at that point of, perfection in jazz. And then he kind of blew with the Miles Davis thing as, also, a version of perfection. But, it's just really understanding that and the dynamic between Thelonious Monk.
Yes. So that's funny you brought up
and Miles Davis.
Yeah.
And
Monk is really the glue, I think.
I think so too.
Because nobody was ever able to make dissonance into beauty like Monk.
Right.
And Monk he'd add dissonance into what he played, and that dissonance, it fit. And and people were like, "Oh man, this is blowing my mind!" You know, like this guy's playing dissonance, and it sounds good.
Yeah.
So I read the John Coltrane book, and John Coltrane was talking about just sitting there and just staring at Monk play for 8 hours in a row, like being like, "This guy's out of his mind."
Yeah.
But he said he learned more.
Oh, Monk talked a lot of sense into him too.
Yeah.
During his time.
Yeah.
You know what
They
I mean?
all had that time back then.
Yeah, they all had that time. They all had their time. Miles Davis was always Mr. Businessman.
But he had to lock himself inside of a closet.
He did. But exactly. But after that, he was just like,
But you got to also, Miles Davis, though, his interpretation of hard drugs varied. He's like, it's just coke.
Right, just exactly. He never got into the heroin thing. That really was the downfall of
all of those guys.
I can't even really say the downfall of Coltrane. Like life's experiences, right?
Yes.
They are what they are, right? And you've heard that before. You say, "Well, I can't regret my actions in the past because they wouldn't have made me who I am today," kind of thing. But you take that in the art, and it takes on a completely different meaning. Right? Because you're talking about how it affects the work.
Yes.
And it affects not like for better or for worse. You know what I mean? We were just recently talking about, I don't know if you're in a Blind Melon or not.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Shannon Hoon, he just 25 years ago passed away, and they left behind 3 albums. They really left behind 2. Nico with the 3rd album was just recordings that were made while he was alive. He wasn't alive when Nico got released.
Right.
Like that got released just after he passed away. They named it Nico because they named it after the child that he left behind. But we always say, like, man, what could have been? You say that about Kurt Cobain too. Man, what could have been? But then you really think about it and like, maybe that's all it was.
That's all it
supposed to be.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the world was supposed to be left with. Maybe that was the story.
Yeah.
So if you look at, jazz is like, you look at Billie Holiday.
Yeah.
Which I don't think most of the world knows that was a tough life.
Yes, it
was.
Was.
From the things that she went through in her childhood, and I'm not going to get into it because it's bad, but if you're interested, look up Billie Holiday's life and understand what she had to go through as a child, and then the men she ran into, and then the drugs she got into, and the bad business people that tried to take advantage of her.
Yeah.
She didn't stand a chance. But she created one of the most wonderful packages of music that this world has ever heard. Mm-hmm. And was that what it was supposed to be? You know what I mean? Was that her sacrifice? Sadly, I have to say it like that, but was that her sacrifice for art?
Without any of that stuff that she went through, there would not have been what she brought to the table.
Right.
Yeah. So it's sad. Yeah. I mean, it's the truth though. You look at it like that. You realize that it's the experiences that make the tone, like the tone.
The tone.
Because
it's all about the tone.
Yeah, if she didn't go through any
even
of that
in
stuff,
visual art's all consistent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all relative. You're right with saying tone. That's a good word.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
thank you for bringing this conversation up. I can sit here and talk about jazz until the freaking sun.
I've been dying to have this conversation with you. You can ask Brian, right? So Brian sits right next to me, the designer we have here, and he's really an audiophile. He really knows a lot about music. He really does. I mean, that's half the reason I hired him, just so I can have someone next to me all day, because that's really like my other passion is music.
Yes.
Fishing, music, painting fish, listen to music, playing music. I mean, that's what it's all about for me. I love sports and everything like that. We talk about sports a lot on the show, and I'm a huge Dolphins fan, and I'm all about the Tua thing right now. But really, for me, it's like music is where it's at, right? It's like, and I love all forms of music, everything from jazz to country to you name it. Because Miles Davis himself even said it doesn't matter the genre. If it's good, it's good.
It's true. So you want to hear something crazy?
Of course.
I never was really a big Miles Davis fan.
You weren't.
No, like I appreciated what he brought to the table.
Still to this day?
Still to this day. You know what I mean? I you know what I mean? Like I love everything all the way up to what's that CD that had blue and green? No,
Green Dolphin Street?
No. I'm trying to remember the name of the CD. Kind of Blue.
Kind of Blue, yeah.
Yeah. I loved everything up to that point.
Okay.
All right. And then when he started getting a little bit more liberal, you know what I mean? When
like
he
the Bitches Brew stuff.
Yeah, cool jazz and stuff like that. It kind of, I didn't like it. You know what I mean? Like once I got older, I appreciated his place in jazz. You know what I mean? Like that stuff that he did with the what was the sketches of Spain? That stuff was amazing, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. I was always a straight ahead jazz guy.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I like Bitches Brew, but I can definitely see that in acquired taste, right? But there's other stuff surrounding that album that I don't care for either, really. I mean, he went like in this extremely experimental path, like in the 70s and even into the 80s, to be honest with you, that just didn't take. Yeah. And Coltrane experienced the same kind of thing.
Coltrane did the same exact thing.
After A Love Supreme, which to me was the greatest set of all time.
Yeah, it was. It was awesome.
Where do you go from there? I mean, he basically locked himself. He told his wife, I'm locking myself in the guest house. Don't come to me till I come out. You're not talking to me. Just bring me food. That's it. And that's what he did. And he wrote the entire thing. And he came out with a masterpiece.
Masterpiece, man. And even the alternate takes are masterpieces.
And exactly. And he claims that Love Supreme basically is just like a conversation with God. It is what it is. And that's why they call it Love Supreme, right? Yeah. And so to him, that was the epitome of everything, right? Yeah. So he tried to portray that into a jazz piece. And I know I don't need to tell you that, but I'm basically telling the audience that, right?
Yeah.
But that's what art needs, is that kind of dedication and that kind of passion to make meaningful. You need to sacrifice your life for art. I mean, we work on a lot of things here at the studio, right? We work on things that are daily things. We handle customer requests and custom orders and things like that. And every now and then we'll get these spots of passion that we have to really sacrifice everything that's going on in our world at the time to make happen. And it's not easy. And I still look ahead at what we're faced with coming up, and I know what we got coming up. A lot of the big projects that are facing us. And it's not easy to always handle if you're not going to sacrifice other things in your life, right? And I will never sacrifice the happiness of my family. That's my one rule, right? I'm never going to neglect my family for my art, right? For better or for worse, my art may sacrifice. My art may suffer for that eventually, right? But I'm not going to do it. That's one pact I made with my family, that I'm not going to do that, right? Because you hear things historically with art to where people do sacrifice that, and are they left with heartache? Are they left with regret and all this stuff? And I don't want to feel that way in my life. Right. I mean, I don't want to make my family feel that way.
Right.
That's the one thing. But I'm going to push that limit as much as I possibly can, because it needs to be pushed.
Yeah.
Right. John, you're probably experiencing this now in a lot of the projects that you're working on, where like you can feel that like underlying, you know what I mean, in your projects, where it's like you want perfection every time. You want to push that envelope as much as you can every single time. And it needs to happen for it to mean anything. You know 100%. What I mean? And the same thing with the jazz, same thing with Love Supreme. You like, he did that. He pushed that as far as he can. But once you get to that peak and once you get to that point, very tough to take another path and like keep it going.
It is. I mean, can you imagine the emotional exhaustion he had to feel after he finished that? He
had to go to Japan.
Yeah.
And take time off.
Yeah.
I mean,
find a center.
Yeah, he toured in Japan. He went and looked at the A-bomb landing in the areas and stuff like that. And then when he got back, he was never the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had fully accepted God into his life. He had fully recovered from heroin. he was done. And then, he tried to play fast. And, thinking Monterey, like people like walked off of his performance because it was just too
chaotic
and out there, whatever. And that's fine. You know what I mean? But that's just how I closed it out.
Man, if I can ever jump in a time capsule, I would love to be able to go back to those Newport Jazz Festivals, the Playboy Jazz Festivals, all that stuff with these guys from in the 60s and early 70s. Just the music aspect of it, just be able to listen to all the creative juices going around.
Yeah.
It's stuff that we'll never really get a chance to see again.
No, I mean, you won't. And you always try to capture lightning in a bottle by looking for it now. It's so hard.
It is.
Because in retrospect, it's like you always can say, like hindsight, like Monday morning quarterbacking and all that scenarios, and
right.
Hindsight's 20/20, but it's so tough to catch the important stuff now, and really understand it. So that's why when you do find yourself in that moment, you just got to revel in it.
Amen to that, brother.
You really do, because you don't know, because you might be in that time capsule, and not realize it. That's what they say. Like I think one writer, a very important writer, for some art magazine, once said that about Jean-Michel Basquiat. As a painter. And is this real? Is this just like a ploy? Because his art was so different than everything that was going on at the time. And when the art world accepted it, and they likened it to Van Gogh. And when you say, okay, at the time, no one knew what Van Gogh really was. And now you look at him as one of the most important artists of all time.
Right.
So they looked at Jean-Michel Basquiat and all his crazy work. And we're like, are we looking at Van Gogh's ear right now and not knowing it? And it turns out, yes, you are.
Yeah.
Because he was the most important artist, I think, of the 80s. Him and Warhol.
Right.
Like, bottom line.
Right.
But it's interesting.
It is, man. This is an awesome conversation. I love this.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, you look at jazz, how cool would it be to go back to Harlem and go back to one of those clubs and see Monk play a set?
Oh, man, yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't even think people back then even knew how important that was. It was just good, and they knew it was good. But did they know how important it was?
They didn't. To them, it was another night on the town.
Another night on the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess the overlying tone is that, it's never just another night on the town. You know what I mean? You never know. You might be just...
I like that. It's never just another night on the town. Make a magic happen, Ben. I like it.
I think it's the Papa's Pilar.
It's the rum. It's the rum.
Then back to question one, right?
Absolutely. Man, thanks for coming on the show today.
No, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, definitely.
I did. Talk about jazz with you forever.
Yes, sir.
But that's good stuff, man. So, all right. We're going to wrap it up here. Dust them off. Fish the tournament.
Please do.
And December 2nd through 5th. Not too late. Get those numbers up. And support the Mahogany Youth Foundation. Right?
So
made a difference in Ben's life, and it's making a difference currently. Right?
Yeah.
Right now.
Currently.
Right? Talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Talk about living in that moment and saying, what's the moment now? It's
right.
With these kids, it matters to them.
It does.
Those moments are just as big for them as anybody else.
You can sit there and minimize situations, but you never know how big it is for somebody.
Right. Exactly.
So
exactly. And you know what? That's a good point, because I want to even add on to that too. So when you're addressing youth, you don't know how they're looking at you at the time. And we try to be mindful of that at the studio as an artist and as, a member of the community and everything like that. Whenever you're talking to a kid or a teenager, you don't understand how impressionable you are. So be mindful of that.
Yeah.
Because it makes a difference. I mean, one kind word or one kind phrase or one cool thing you do for them, they could take that with them for the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember when we were I was 12 years old, and we happened to find ourselves on a cruise ship, right? Because my parents won this cruise, right, through a raffle, and then the cruise was a debacle. So they got like a free cruise again.
After that.
So they're like, oh, let's bring the boys next time. So they paid for us to come with them. Happened to be the same week as the Miami Dolphins cruise with the Dolphins.
Oh, that's cool.
Mark Duper, Mark Clayton, like all those guys, Ron Davenport, all the guys, they were the coolest, man. It made like such an impression on me for like the rest of my life that they were like that. And that, so your actions matter. adults, your actions matter to these kids, man. And because I'm talking about it till to this day for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Dellenback and all those guys. And I'm gonna have Dellenbacks on the show soon.
I'm about to say, yeah, they're local guys.
Yeah,
Jason Robinson. Jason Robinson. He went to school with those guys. So,
oh, he did?
Yeah, and when the dad taught over at I forgot the name of the private school that they all went to.
Heritage?
He was there.
Yeah.
He went to he got taught by by them and everything. And,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I remember Jeff Dellenback was on that cruise too, and and I even saw when I saw him, I told him this. I'm like, you made a big impression when I was 12 years old, and he's like, oh, I did. And I'm like, yeah, we played basketball on the top deck of a cruise ship once before, and I was 12, and you blocked the guy for me so I could take a shot. Yeah, it was cool. So your actions matter. Your actions matter. Support the Mahogany Youth Foundation. Fishing for FMD.com, 2020 FMD Raffle, support them, right? And if you're in the market for a new vehicle, I suggest you own a Ram truck.
We own
talked
a Ram.
about this.
Yes.
John, why is it that
I'm the only one that
I bring in guys on the show and it's not on purpose? It just happens to be. I can honestly say got to be about 90% of the guys I bring on this show have Ram trucks.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Like that's probably very close to being a true stat.
Yeah, really.
But John drives a GMC, so
I'm the only one. They're all talking about the Ram trucks. And,
he wants a TRX.
yeah, I wish I could
That thing's
afford a
badass.
TRX, but
So
there was a moment there where I had a Silverado, and I love the truck, but nothing drives like this Ram.
no.
It's like it's a Cadillac. And whatever they are.
No, yeah.
It's a great smooth truck.
I have owned probably I'm a truck guy. I've had trucks my whole life, right? As we probably all have. I have owned, I'm thinking about it, a Chevy, a Ford, Toyota, right? Well, GMC.
Yeah.
This Ram that I have is the best truck I've, hands down, the best truck I've ever had my entire life.
Do you have the knob shifter in yours?
Yep.
Man, one time
Took a little get used to it.
Yeah.
Took a little get, but now I'm like, now when I'm not in a car and I don't have that, I'm like, what? Turning up the volume of the radio.
Yeah, man.
We have 1,500, 2,500?
1,500.
Yeah. So there's the Rebel Suite. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, go see Joey Cardi, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. We're going to put their information up on the screen. For those of you listening, just head over to, JA/AG.com on Joey Cardi.
yeah, I'll put it up. They probably got some good holiday deals coming up too, so go check them out.
Yep, holiday deals coming up. So, and also I want to give a shout out to, like we always do at Papa's Raw Bar, and Troy and Cassie got their operation dialed in. And of course, there is the Connected by Water sushi menu at Papa's Raw Bar. And you don't like fish.
I don't eat
That's
fish.
all right. But if you
At
do
least
like
more
fish,
for you guys.
more for us, right? So Ben won't be there. But,
Order me some chicken fingers.
yeah. So adding onto the Connected by Water, we have a new addition to the Connected by Water sushi roll, or to the sushi menu this week, which is the bombshell roll. So our good friend of the studio, Michelle Bombshell Dalton, is introducing her roll this week, getting added to the Connected by Water sushi menu. So we're pretty proud of that one. And always, if you want to hang out at the end of the day and relax, you can do so just like Ben and I did, and talk some jazz and talk some fishing with a nice bottle of Papa's Pilar rum there. So never a spectator, as we always say. So anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just please support local tackle shops, support local companies. I think this fishing community, you can support everybody local without having to go, kind of like.
I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Speaking of that, we got to give a shout out to our boy Mike Lipsky there.
Oh yeah, congratulations
Real
on
Deal
the good
Dayton
open.
Tackle. Yep. So we promoted him on last episode. We'll promote him again. Promote him on every episode. He's a friend.
Yes.
So Mike Lipsky moved to Pompano. He's now as a 201.
201.
Right, South Federal Highway. Just 2 blocks south of Atlantic on Federal Highway in Pompano Beach, Florida. Especially if you're in the market for no live bait no live bait needed. It's the rum. It's the
Yeah,
rum.
it's the rum.
No live bait needed.
Exclusive
Snook
dealer.
and tarpon candy.
Yep.
He's the exclusive dealer for the hottest swim bait there is in the world.
They kill them.
Yep, absolutely. John can attest for it because he's a snook killer, right?
I try.
Yeah,
when I get time.
yeah.
Talking out
exactly.
Talking about today's a good day to go find a spillway.
Yeah.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. And then he's also Mike's the slow jig, the slow pitch jig master.
Yeah.
shop
He's got
too.
he's got a
Alright.
huge
he-
assortment of all that stuff.
So he's absolutely an authority on that as well. So he's all set up with the Daiwas and the accurates and the avits and all that stuff. So cool. So all right, cool. We're gonna close it out.
Awesome. Thanks for having me again, brother.
Happy Veterans Day
Yes. Happy Veterans Day, everybody.
to Ben Sharpe and all those who served in our military forces. We thank you for your service. All right, your ego is not your amigo. Always do your best and just let God do the rest. Right, and don't ever forget that no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, make sure you're living a life that's connected by water.
Amen.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.